Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. So we have a little bit of a mini update letting us know, I guess, how the anniversary celebration is going to be kicking off, and this kind of gives us a bit of an indication about potentially how this is going to go. So if you watched my prediction video, I did mention that with the anniversary I thought that we might get Trendy Bison coming, but in that video I did make a throwaway comment and I mentioned the fact that there is a trendy or fashion Vega that we could get, but I did expect Bison, but no. So if you look here, you'll see this guy, and this guy were the only ones that were left, and I did expect to get one of the three, but I did really think it made most sense for it to be this guy. But we have had a little bit of an update, and it is going to be Trendy Vega that we get. Okay, so we've got a countdown now coming in to get Trendy Vega, and as with all countdowns, we've got our 15 special summon tickets, and we've also got our Starlight, right? So it's going to be a normal event in that regard, right? We'll talk about Trendy Vega in a minute or two. So he's going to come out in 7 days, which is exactly when the anniversary kicks off. So do expect him to be an anniversary unit, right? Now, we know nothing about how they're going to do his summon. I highly doubt they're going to do something like 50% off on a special summon unit. So I wouldn't expect that. It could happen. We don't know, but I certainly would not expect that to happen, right? Now, what I would expect to happen is part 2 of the celebration will be something along the lines of the first anniversary celebration. So expect there to be some sort of a sharing event, whether it be cream, whatever it's going to be. And I do still think we're going to get a 50% off on a divination unit. And I do still think it's going to be Yakuza Ken, and you can purchase your fashion Ryu. So that is something I'm not expecting to change. However, they might subvert expectations a little bit, and maybe they'll make this guy 50% off. Again, I highly doubt it. I'm just saying there's maybe a possibility of that. So if we go back and look at the anniversary sign-in, it kind of does line up with what I was thinking originally, which would be this correlates to what we're going to get. So during the course of the anniversary, I would have expected, based on this, to have a regular unit, factional unit. So you've got your 2 lots of currency for that, your divination unit, you've got your currency for that, and then at the bottom, your special summoning unit, you've got your currency for that. So far, that's lining up because we've got that special summoning unit, we'll get the divination unit, and hopefully, along with that divination unit, we'll get a factional unit, which, again, I'm thinking, if they're going to go with a story like they did before, of doing the whole find the scent, follow the scent, that thing they did where Guy was the one who stole something, I can't remember, then it would make sense, because if they were going to do the story themed around Yakuza Ken, then what better time to drop Yakuza Guy, you know? So we'll need to wait and see, but that is what I'm expecting that to kind of turn out to be, right? So people are probably wondering, what type of unit is Vega? We don't know, because he's new. He is brand new. I don't know if we could class him as a global... Well, he is going to be a global first, because TW don't have him yet. He will probably come out on TW shortly after this. Elena was a brand new unit. TW got her like maybe a month ago, and then we got her. So I would expect us to get this unit, and then they'll get the unit in like a month's time. It's pretty common these days where we're getting these global first or new units. So people are worried about that. They're worried about what happens when China runs out, blah blah blah. We're actually getting units now that they don't have yet, and vice versa. So there is still more to come. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So we don't know what type of unit he is. I mean, it's Vega, so to me, he's got to be a DPS unit. He doesn't really make sense to be anything other than a DPS unit. He's either going to fit into Assassin or he's going to fit into Power, like one of the two. I mean, realistically, looking at Vega as he is, I don't really think he fits in anything other than Assassin, right? is just really Vega to me. I don't know about you guys, if you agree or you disagree. I think probably all versions of Vega should be an assassin. Hey, some people might disagree with that. Maybe I'm just saying that because assassin is one of my highest in fighting heart. In fact, you know what? It might actually be my highest. Although it's tied with power, I think. But either or, I think he's going to be in one of the two of them. What type of unit will he be? Again, I probably don't expect him to be too dissimilar to normal Vega. He will most likely be a fast unit. I would expect him to be a fast unit yet again. He will have bleed most likely. I mean, he's got 2 giant claws attached to him. How can he not be bleed? The thing that's going to really, I guess, make people either interested or not interested is whether he's going to be purely a single target attacker like basic Vega, or if he's going to do some more AoE based attacks. Now, what I'm actually hoping for this unit is we have a couple of units who feed off of other bleed characters, right? Characters like Ken, Fashion Ken. We're going to have Fashion Ryu coming out. These units are like synergized with other bleed units, and what I would like to actually see from this guy is having something like, this will sound crazy, but hopefully this makes sense, something like Wall of Blades, right? What I'm meaning by that is he would essentially be the bleed equivalent of Flame Aeon, right? It's quite easy to do as well. He could do a Baraka style move where he's, you know, big AoE attack, and everyone within that gets bleed applied to them, stacking for a certain amount of time. You know, it would give us a function for this guy to be a bit like a kind of Flame Aeon style character where it could really start to push the numbers on squad like that. I feel like it's needed because right now, one thing I noticed yesterday going over a kind of DPS list was no one kind of stands on the same level as Flame Aeon just now, and it's because he has that function. Other statuses need the ability to get that type of function. You know, you need to get something like that for shock, something like that for bleed, technically maybe something like that for poison down the line. That is probably the only way you're going to bring up other factions to align with what you can currently get from the Flame faction. And I feel like they've got an opportunity right now with Vega being a brand spanking new unit where they could make him, I guess, compete with Flame Aeon. Will he top him? Probably not. But again, he could. I don't know, you know, because there is certain little tricks you can do to get extra out of bleed. Like you can put Vega, standard Vega, onto a bleed unit as an assist, and you get more bleed, but it's as a second stack, which would mean you would be able to like really boost the numbers on them and really get a lot of damage going from them. So I would like to see something like that from him, because then it will make him a kind of, I want to say, an essential character. Again, some people might not like that idea, but I do think it's something that they probably should look at, because it is something that's quite badly needed for these other kind of factions or status ailments that you can get within game at the moment. I would expect him to be an Inferno character. We just had Akuma, who was a wind special summon. Before that it was Honda, who was a master. They generally bookend them like that, so the fact that we just had Master Wind, I would expect this to be Inferno, and then potentially the next one might be a special factional summon again. So Vega here, I do expect this guy to be an Inferno unit, right? Again, we've got nothing to go on apart from speculation. I think myself, we're probably just looking at another solid bossing unit who, if he's got AoE built into him, which I very much think he might have, potentially, because the other two don't as such. I feel like he might have AoE built into him, which will mean that not only potentially is he going to be good for bossing, you've got the potential that he'll be good for PvP and stages as well if he's got AoE. So what I'm hoping for from this guy is a high stacking, I'm not looking for much, a high stacking bleed AoE unit. I think that's what he's going to be honest, because they need to do something to differentiate him from standard Vega, and to me, I think that is probably the route they'll go down. He's probably going to stack bleed high. I would expect that anyway. That's what I'm thinking from him. Maybe potentially, if you're running him with other bleed units, he might like multiply those stacks. That's something that some units can do, because it might be hard to replicate Wall of Fire on bleed. Whereas if you've got a unit that for every bleed stack they have, like let's say they have 5, when Vega attacks, he matches that as a second stack, something like that. You know, that could get those numbers really rolling, and it could put this guy onto that kind of level. Again, it remains to be seen with supports and stuff like that. Can he actually reach that level? I don't know, but I do think there's the potential there, because they could go really hard with the bleed mechanic and they could make this guy pretty damn good. So we'll wait and see. But while I'm disappointed that it's not Bison, because thematically it would have worked better for Bison in my opinion, Vega's a great shout. Vega's a great unit, and I'm pretty happy with that. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would you like to see from this unit? Again, there's nothing to go on. We're literally going on fantasy booking, because there is not another version we can look at. What would you like this unit to do? Let me know in the comments down below. I've been Hayzink, thanks for watching, catch you in the next one, peace.